What's up, game players? How are you guys doing? I'd like to welcome you guys to the Analog Circle Podcast, episode number 37. That's right, we getting up there, buddy. Number 37. I'm your host, Keon Mitchell, and let me tell you, buddy, first and foremost, I want to thank you, the listener out there, for tuning in this week to the Analog Circle Podcast. I greatly appreciate it. Now, if you are a new listener, if you are a person who's new to the podcast, new to the show, if you want to check out some previously recorded podcasts, hey, listen up, buddy. You can find the show over on SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Audio Mac. And if you are so inclined and you feel it in your heartbone, in your heart, to join the Facebook group, it is called the Analog Circle, of course, where guys go over there. We just chit-chat about new game stories and our opinions on different things that are going on in the industry. If that's something you think that you, the listener, would be interested in, then come on over and join the discussion. Shout out to Mastino Davis. Shout out to Chad Harper. Those two brothers, they keep it alive over there. You know, I try to chime in as much as I can, but, shout out to those two guys as well as everybody in the community that brings up different stories, brings things to my attention that I'm not even aware of. So I truly thank you guys for doing that. And, yeah, but with that being said, you know what? I got to just jump right on in. Kind of like the old Xbox, commercials used to say, just jump in. Yeah, I just kind of want to jump in real quick. I did not play anything this week, to be honest with you. I didn't play anything much, though I must say just still busy on the house, man. Matter of fact, I want to ask you guys out there, somebody out there has to know the answer to this, okay? I need to know, what is a good gaming chair to buy? Because what I'm working on, man, is I'm working on a game room. So in the game room, I want to try and paint the scene for you out there real quick. I have the room painted all black. It's black and it's gray. Now you guys might say, what the world are you doing with those colors? Well, the reason why is because I want it to be dark, so when I'm playing the game, it's no glare. I'm making sure that the curtains are going to be dark, where you don't get that glare from outside of your window when you're playing, and it just glares on the screen just ever so gently, where it messes with your field of vision. I am trying to eliminate that whole problem. So I'm going to have the refrigerator in there. Get a beverage if you so choose to. But I want to make sure that I set it up really, really nice. Have some nice chairs in there. So if anybody can recommend a very nice, very sturdy, a chair that is going to last for some years to come, a nice, comfortable gaming chair, I would greatly appreciate it. And you can reach the show if you want. 2 different ways. If you weren't aware of it, you can call in to voice your opinion at 443-261-4607, or you can email the show at, of course, you already know, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Man, you know what? With that being out of the way and in our rear view mirror, I think, in my personal opinion, that we just need to get into what we all come here for every week, and that is for no other than the gaming news that went down, starting out with Microsoft. Now, in the recent turn of events, with the Xbox One brand, with sales spiking for the months of July and August due to the S model and the discounted Xbox One original, it comes to no surprise that retailers are happy with these results because they're able to get rid of the old stock. In fact, GameStop has taken it a step further. They are now offering a fantastic deal on the Xbox One bundle models. Now, these bundles include, now I want you guys to keep in mind, this is the original, okay? This is not the S model. They are still trying to get rid of old stock, but listen to some of these bundle deals, okay? Now, you can get the Gears of War Ultimate Edition with Rare Replay, which will be a digital code. You can also choose from Quantum Break. You can get the Gears of War Ultimate Edition with a digital code for Forza 6. And you can even get the Lego Movie Bundle. Now, this is the thing. They are selling all of these bundles at GameStop for a whopping $229.99. You can be the proud owner of an Xbox One Original, which is the 500 gigabyte model, the all black box, the one that people say look like a VCR. Yes, you can get that for $229. So if this is something you're interested in, I say, hey man, it is a great time to jump on in, have a great time with it, and have at it. So moving on from there. Let's just move the train right along. Next up, it looks like the Wii U. Yes, the Wii U is in its final days. Oh yes, we knew this was coming. Oh my gosh. It was inevitable. It had to happen. But it is literally in its last days. Yes, it seems that Nintendo is taking final orders on the Wii U with online retailer GameSeek. Now, apparently, no more orders will be taken from retailers by the Big N after, that's right, after September 30th. Now, it's unclear if this is the case globally, but it's not surprising, seeing as though the NX will release in March. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this a couple of months ago, maybe about a year ago. They were talking about that the console, it was going to be discontinued. It was going to be phased out, in the following year. Well, that is finally happening, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally becoming a reality. September 30th, that is it. And you guys know that is this week. So we'll see. We'll see if this is true or not. Who knows? Maybe it's just for that online retailer, or this could be globally. I guess we will see. But man, if you are thinking about getting a Wii U, which very interesting. Oh man, you guys are going to want to hang around for something in the feedback section, because I got an incredible email that you guys who are fans of the Wii U, even people who aren't fans of the Wii U, but have wondered about a certain situation that I've brought up on the podcast. You guys are going to want to stay tuned for that section. An incredible email. Opened my whole eyes up, both of them. But moving on. We'll just see though. Wii U is on its way out, buddy. Oh no. Moving on. Well, oh yes. But moving on, God dog, for the 8th time, PC gamers can get a free copy. That's right, I want to repeat this. Can get a free copy of Gears of War 4 bundled with the purchase of select. That's right, I gotta put emphasis on that. On select GeForce GTX 1080 or 1070 graphic cards. Now, systems and laptops, all of that stuff. Yes, the card systems and laptops. Now, if you're interested in this, if you're in the market, okay, buddy, if you're in the market for a 1080 or a 1070, a GTX, you know, you PC guys, then you can go to www.geforce, that is geforce.com. Go over there, pick you up a nice card, and it will come with Gears of War 4 to show off how lovely your card is. So if this is something oh man, I just belched. Sorry about that. Oh man, if it's something you're interested in, then once again visit that website and see how it goes. Moving on from there, Final Fight 2 and 3 are available for both the new 3DS Virtual Console and will go for $7.99 each. Now, both titles support one player only. I gotta tell you, you know what, just a quick little story about Final the Fight. I never really got into 2 or 3. I played the first one. I loved playing as Cody and as Hagar. Shout out to Cody Clark, by the way. But, yeah, I used to love playing as Cody because he had that little throw move. I think Guy had it too. But then he had that little cyclone kick. Well, I guess Guy had it too. But on the Super Nintendo version, you couldn't pick Guy. Okay, you had Cody and you had Hagar. That was it. Hagar was suplexing mofos. It was awesome. He would do that big power drive when he would lift you up in the air and just drop you on your neck. It was amazing. I loved it. But after 2 and 3 came out, I kind of faded out of that. It wasn't really my thing anymore. But man, what an incredible game. So for any of you guys that are trying to relive the past, retro, go ahead and pick up Final Fight 2 and 3 on the Virtual Console, the 3DS, new 3DS, by the way, Virtual Console for $7.99. Moving on back into the Microsoft camp. Now, oh shoot, nope, I just messed up. No, we're sticking with Nintendo, my bad. Now, I know that things have been pretty quiet on the NX news side, and Nintendo hasn't really been saying much about the console, but leave it up to one of Nintendo's few allies to speak up. In an interview with IGN, CEO of Ubisoft, Mr. Yves Guillemot said, now this is a quote, he said, I think once again, the interface is very attractive. It's a machine that will be easy to use for all gamers. They have built in something that will give us a chance to really have a different experience from what exists today. That's what I like. That they come with something new that is adapted to what we actually want now. It's a fantastic machine. Wow. Now, however, he didn't confirm whether the NX is a portable or merges Nintendo's home console and handheld divisions. He didn't mention that, but in his opinion, Mr. Yves Guillemot, he says that he thinks they're giving us something different. They're coming to the market with something that's not out there. They're making their own lane again. Nintendo, you know, I tell you, it's been so many reports about this NX, and I want this. I want Nintendo please hear me when I say from the bottom of my heart, I want Nintendo to succeed. I want them to win. I want them to be able to compete with the other two big dogs in the ring. The only thing is Nintendo doesn't want to compete. They always, see, this is the thing. I mean, that is a quote that I talked about a couple of months ago from Mr. Reggie Fils-Aimé. His words. They're letting them do what they do. They're going to do what they do. That's nothing new for Nintendo. Nintendo has always set their own lane. But is this a good idea? Is it a good idea to actually merge the two together where you can take this console everywhere you go? It'll actually be portable. I think it's amazing. I think it's a fantastic idea if it's 100% true, like it's been advertised, like people have been thinking it is. I think it's great because the fact of the matter is Nintendo knows that their handheld market that they've held so strong with an iron fist for so many decades long. They've seen the competition come and go. I mean, handhelds that were 5 times better. It's no way anyone could ever say that the Sega Game Gear was not graphically better by a long shot than the doggone Game Boy. It's no way. No one can ever say the same thing about the TurboGrafx. They had a portable console. It didn't last. You could even watch TV on that thing. It did not last. Atari with the Atari Lynx, it was a better system, a better handheld. It didn't last. Nintendo is the last man standing when it comes to the portable market. But since the uprise of mobile phones and mobile games, Nintendo can see that they are in some trouble. And I respect the fact that they're saying, hey, if it's true, if the rumors are true, that they're saying, you know what, we need to react to this. We need to make sure that we're going to get the best of both worlds. We're going to give you this gift, this new thing out here, where if you want to go on the go and play, you can. If you want to stay home and just play with your TV, play it on your TV, you can. The only thing, once again, is that it's not going to be a powerhouse of a console. Nintendo hasn't done this in years. They haven't made a powerhouse console. I'm just wondering, do you guys think that this is going to be enough? Do you think that it's always out of the box? Nintendo has been out the box since the Super Nintendo ended and the Nintendo 64 came on the scene. That's when, after that, things just started going out the box. They've always thought out of the box, and they've brought a lot of innovation to the gaming world. No one can deny that. But will this be enough? Or has Nintendo just taken it too far again and not keeping it simple? I would love to get your thoughts on that. But with that, we're gonna keep on moving on. Now, Super Mario Maker is coming to the 3DS. That's right, this is for you 3DS holders. It's coming to the 3DS on December 2nd, but you will not be able to play the game with the 3D effects on. Now, the game will also be less featured than the Wii U counterpart and will lack a lot of online features. So, if you want to take Super Mario Maker on the go, guess what, buddy? You will be able to do it. It looks like you'll basically be playing the basic Wii U version, just basic. You know, it's not going to have a lot of the features that the Wii U version is going to have, which is, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, good grief. You know, you're actually porting a console version to a handheld. So you can't expect for it to have the same amount of, content. But if you want to take it on the go, December 2nd, it is coming to you 3DS owners. With that, also remember, again, 3D effects will not be on. Moving on to the next story. Now, as of right now, for those who are, now see this, woo, man, this really got me fired up, buddy. Now, I'm gonna just say this, okay? It has been taken away as of now, but just yesterday, the Xbox One, if you had been interested, the Xbox One had another emulator. Now, this emulator, I know you guys heard about this. This emulator actually had the Nintendo 64 games on it. It was an app. All you had to do, and I did this personally, I literally took a picture of the app on my phone and I put it in the Analog Circle Facebook group. All you had to do, because when I saw this, I said, no, man, this can't be real. No darn way. What I did, man, I went to the apps, I went to search, and I put in Win, W-I-N, 64E10. I put in, actually, I didn't even type it all in. I just put in Win, and the app came up, and it was to emulate N64 games on the Xbox One. What? Never has there ever been a time that a console, now, keep in mind, of course, it got taken down. It was shut down. They were selling it for $10. $10. And people were saying, I mean, it didn't work great. Don't get me wrong, okay? Understand. It was not great, okay? But the thing about it is, that was so amazing to me, was it was an actual emulator on a console. It was a N64 emulator that ran on the console. It cost $10. $10 doggone dollars. People did say that Super Mario 64 frame rate was horrible. It was just terrible. It was not playable. Some of the games that they tried to emulate would say that the Xbox didn't support it. So it did come with a billion flaws. But the point that I'm making is that for even if it was a couple of hours, it was actually a day. Actually, it literally lasted a day, like 27 hours, that they had an emulator on a console. That has never happened. And it got me to thinking, game players, it got me to thinking, is the Xbox One really blurring that line between console and PC? Now, I know you guys are saying, Keon, duh. That is a stupid question. They're already on the PC side. They're making games for the PC. They want you to be able to pick up and go where you left off on your PC, on your Xbox. I get all of that. I understand that. Okay. I got you. But the thing that I'm saying is, we have the mod support that's coming to the Xbox One. We've had this app that came out. On the previous podcast, it was another app that has some Nintendo games on it. Now, that wasn't the whole primary use for it. It was actually a tool to make games. But with that application, it did come with some Nintendo assets on it. So what I'm saying is, man, are they really blurring the line? Because this was really amazing. It didn't last long, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it really got me excited. Man, we could really see with the Scorpio a whole lot of other PC things being implemented into not just the console, but also the games. Maybe more mod support will be available with the Scorpio outside of Fallout 3. Maybe different games that have the, golly, I lost my train of thought. Doggone it. That have the mod support. Maybe it'll get to the point where those games that are on the PC that have them, they'll make them on the Xbox One because the architecture will be so much closer to PC. This is so interesting. Very, very interesting stuff. I can't wait to see what else happens on the Xbox side because I was just floored, amazed, but I have rambled on way too long about this thing. We're going to move on to the next story. Now, when Microsoft, we're going to stay with Microsoft a little bit because I think this is pretty interesting as well. Now, when Microsoft announced the Xbox One S and the Scorpio at this year's E3 event together, many people were confused as to why they would announce two consoles at the same event. People said it was suicide. It was the wrong thing to do. It's confusing. They just couldn't understand why this even remotely would make sense for Microsoft to do this. Well, in a recent interview with Tech Radar, Mr. Albert Pinello explained why they chose to do that. Now, this is him, and I quote, he said, "We wanted to let people know in advance so that we didn't run into the opposite problem, which is next year we announce Scorpio and we have people that bought Xbox One S and went on to say, why didn't you tell me this was coming a year later?" He said, "I would have waited." No, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Good grief. That was butchered. I'm going to run that back. He said, "We wanted to let people know in advance so that we didn't run into the opposite problem, which is next year we announce Scorpio and we have people that bought Xbox One S and went, why didn't you tell me that this was coming a year later? I would have waited." He continued to say that he was glad they gave people the option. That's right, the option to figure out what makes sense to them. "I'm glad we told people that something else was coming next year and to give people the opportunity to wait if they think it's going to be better for them." I tell you, I said the exact same thing. I said, look, people made such a big stink about this. People were so confused and so just unnerved as to why would this make sense? Well, there you go. He wanted to let people know in advance, hey, look, we got this coming out this year. Yeah, as a 4K Blu-ray player, a couple more features, a little bit here and there, some tinkers here and there to make it a little better. But if you want to get the full 4K experience, if you want to get your games in 4K resolution, native, then wait for the Scorpio. That's what you're going to want to get. And like he said, whatever makes sense for your lifestyle or that person's lifestyle. They wanted to give choice. This is something that Microsoft has been pushing for years now. That's why they have several, or at least had several different SKUs. This one comes with that, but it doesn't come with this, but it comes with this. That's what they've been pushing. So their agenda has not changed. And I think it's a wonderful thing that they let people know, because everybody, and I say this all the time, only because it's true. So many people think that the companies are trying to get over on them. And don't get me wrong, I'm not blind, I'm not oblivious to the fact that sometimes, yeah, they do. They try to do little things here and there, but at the same time, I can understand it's a business. And at the same time of it being a business, once again, you don't have to buy it. Nobody is holding a grenade in their hand in the middle of your floor in your house saying, I'm going to detonate this thing and blow everything up if you don't buy this particular thing. So I don't really fully agree with what a lot of people say about, cash grab, this, that, and the third, because it's all choice, so I think that, it was a good decision. I think people would have given them a whole lot more backlash if they didn't do it this way, because like I said, they would be setting people up. People are so fast to think they're being set up to get their money taken away. So they just said, man, forget that. We're going to tell you what the plan is, and that's that. So I think it was good. There's not much more to say about this one. Moving on to the next story. Now, according to a major UK retailer, Tesco, which is their name, they may have revealed the NX price point. Now, Tesco created a temporary holding page for the Big N's Next system. Now, when the page first went up, it included the NX price tag that was $349.99. Now, that was in euros. But since then, it has been removed. Now, take this with a grain of salt, if you may. It could have just been a placeholder. It could have been a mistake. Anything could have happened. But the fact of the matter is, it went up for $349.99 in euros, and that actually, in American currency, that actually comes out to $392.75. So basically, I'm guessing $400 over here in the US, if it is real. Whoa, shoot, that just kind of hit me. Would any of you guys out there pay $400 for a NX? That is the question. Now, I understand, once again, I want to preference this one more again by saying, take it with a grain of salt. But if that's the case, if by just a darn miracle that this is actually true, and that the price point over here in the States comes out to $400, is anybody gonna pay that? Oh, I don't know. Because when you think about it, let's just put it in perspective just a little bit. Let's just put it in perspective. Now, you got the handheld part of the system, and you have the console side of the system. Now, I'm thinking that Nintendo, they make great handhelds. They do very, very good. And if they're gonna push this as a console / handheld, that's gotta be a little pricey. When the PlayStation Vita came out, that was what, $300? $249.99, somewhere around there? And you mean to tell me that if the rumors are true, that this is going to be able to do both, that can't be cheap. It's got to be a little expensive. Last I heard, they were saying another rumor that the screen was going to be 720p. Now, I know some of you guys are like, 720p? I get so tired of that. But the thing is, on a smaller screen, it looks great. It looks fantastic. The PS Vita, when that came out and you saw the screen, it was crisp, it was clean, it was bright, it was a beautiful screen. But I don't even think that was running at 720. So if there's so many rumors with this thing, but if that $400 price tag is true, are any of you guys willing any of you listeners out there, are you willing to pay that kind of price for this kind of device? Oh man, I didn't even mean for that to rhyme. Oh shucks, I'm a rapper. Moving on. Good gracious. Now for you Samsung Gear, that was just so corny, by the way. But for you Samsung Gear owners, Microsoft, of course, man, a lot of news about Microsoft and Nintendo. I'm not being jaded, people, okay? Want to put that out there. Now, for you Samsung Gear owners, Microsoft made an announcement on Friday, September 23rd. Senior product manager for Xbox accessories, his name is Navin Kumar, wrote in an Xbox Wire blog, "We're excited to announce that the new Xbox wireless controller will soon be compatible with controller-enabled games on the device, starting with Minecraft Gear VR Edition." Now, Kumar added that the other compatible games are Hero Bound, Spirit Champion, and End Space. Kumar said, "This is only the beginning. We're working hard to make the Xbox One controller compatible with all controller-supported Gear VR games and future games too. If you have both devices and you want to pair them up," now this is the thing. If you have both of them, if you have the Samsung Gear VR, and you want to have the controller work, you actually have to get the new controller, the new Xbox controller that is Bluetooth enabled. And what you'll have to do is you'll have to actually update the drivers in the controller, and pairing between the two happens, like I said, via Bluetooth. So this is interesting. I see Microsoft is really they're really tactfully getting into the VR headspace with a very minimal gamble. Because if you think about it, HoloLens, we haven't heard too much about the HoloLens lately. It's been pretty much silent. It's been radio silent for a very long time since the dev kits went out. Good grief, that was over a year ago. I think the dev kits went out maybe a year ago, but we haven't heard much of anything else. So I think that what Microsoft is trying to do is they're trying to corner markets. They're just trying to corner anything. They're trying to corner the PC market. They're trying to corner the console market. Now they're trying to even get over on the third party VR market, because remember, they already have controllers coming with the Oculus Rift already. And now they're going to jump to the Samsung VR, which is a much cheaper option. Much cheaper. So what Microsoft is doing, they're trying to maybe not necessarily, do a monopoly, make a monopoly, but every controller they sell, that's $60. I don't know how much the Bluetooth controller is going to cost. I'm taking it. It'll still be the same price, $60. But they're really making a very strategic call. They're not jumping full force into the VR market like Sony is, which, I'm glad Sony is doing it, because somebody has to do it. Somebody has to take the big step into the arena to really see and check the temperature of if it's a need for this thing or not. So my hat goes off to Sony, and I want to see them succeed. I want to see them win. I really do. But I can understand Microsoft being very cautious where they don't lose anything. If anything, they gain, because it's not their technology. They didn't have to do any R&D, spend big money on that. All they're doing is giving the option to say, hey, guess what? You want to play games on this thing? Use the controller. Use the Xbox controller. Let's just get that in your hand. And if you like it, great. If not, oh well. So I think that this is a nice strategy. I think that they're, like I said, just being very cautious. very cool though. Makes me want to really pick up a Samsung VR if that's the case, just to get a nice feel. It's a nice entry point to see if VR is a thing for you at a very, like I said, at a very cheap price. Man, I'm rambling too much. Moving on. Now, PlayStation 4 owners. Yes, I know you thought I wasn't going to talk about you. I love Sony. God dog it. But PlayStation 4 owners will have an exclusive multiplayer beta for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, this is not a permanent exclusive, but it will begin on October 14th. That's 10 p.m. Pacific time, which is a week. This is going to be, you guys are going to get this a week ahead of Xbox One owners, which their beta will start on October 21st, but the beta ends on the 24th. God dog it. So PlayStation 4 players will be able to play the game for 10 days, and Xbox One players will be able to play the game for 3. Now, unfortunately, at this time, for you PC players, unfortunately, you will not be receiving a beta, but the game does release on November the 4th. So, you get 10 whole days. That is a long time. Man, how the tide has changed with Call of Duty. Oh my goodness, Xbox, it was synonymous with the Call of Duty name, but now we have been dwarfed down to 3 days. Whereas you PlayStation 4 owners, you got 10 days to get your beta on, see if you like the game. But you know what? I'm not mad at that. Not at all. Not at all. Because it's business. At the end of the day, it's a business decision. Sony has way more consoles out there in the wild. They have the lead. They have the momentum. I don't know. The momentum could be changing a little bit. It seems really, really good out there for Microsoft right now. I mean, they got 2 months under their belt, of selling more consoles. So, I mean, things are, turning around a little bit for the MS. But, the game is out. This is a game I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm looking forward to this more than Battlefield. I don't want to go back into the trenches. I don't want to do that stuff with the doggone basic weapons and all. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be on horseback. I want to be in a rocket ship. I want to be out there in the stars and the quasars, man. I'm not even going to get Battlefield. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm way more excited about Call of Duty than Battlefield. That's just me. Be mad. I don't care. But moving on from there. Now, this was something else too. By the way, don't be mad. It's just my choice. But, I found an interesting story about a woman named, now this was so cool to me. God dog it. Her name is Bridget Odlin. Now, she is actually 72 years old and a retired debt recovery officer who loves playing video games. She said she first became addicted to video games 30 years ago when she bought her son a Nintendo Entertainment System. Oh, Nintendo, doggone it. Oh, just real quick. Nintendo is just synonymous. Anybody in my era, in the 80s era, if you were a game player, Nintendo, they live on in your heart. You might have moved on, but man, Nintendo, they stay in the back of your mind. You want to see them do good. And, I just remember that era 30 years ago. Good grief. Just amazing. But let me get back to this. She bought her son a Nintendo and found herself spending all her free time playing Super Mario, and now plays up to 8 hours a day on her PlayStation, her Xbox, and her Wii. Now, she prefers role-playing games like Final Fantasy or like Zelda, and she enjoys Tomb Raider, and says that if she gets a new game, she's up until 2 a.m. playing it. Now, she also went on to say she isn't a fan of Call of Duty and says she finds it boring, all of that killing. She said there's a lot of shooting in Tomb Raider, but there's more to it than that. She says, I like working out the puzzles in the game. Now, Tomb Raider does have some puzzles. I definitely agree with that. Now, she had undergone corrective eye surgery to help improve her gaming skills. Now, she said even though her husband isn't into gaming, she maintains that a lot of older people are into it. And she said her friend plays and they're the same age and she will go over to her house for a game. This was so amazing to me because, as I stand here, 37 years old, I was saying to myself, I said, man, I really think at this age, if I haven't let this hobby go that I'm so passionate about and I just love so very much, then I'm gonna be 92 years old, still playing games. My hand-eye coordination might not be 100% there, but I can't see myself ever fully putting down the controller. And to actually read a story about a older woman who, my goodness, who is 72 years old and still playing games 8 hours a day, which is something that I gotta be honest, I haven't been able to do that since I was in school, being able to sit down and do that. But, just the fact that this woman was able to do that and has such a passion for it and solving the puzzles in Tomb Raider, it got me to thinking that even though she did not say this, and I'm not trying to put words in her mouth. I'm definitely not trying to do that, Miss Bridget, but when she said she likes to solve the puzzles in Tomb Raider, she understands that it is, killing, it's violence, but she loves solving the puzzles. That made me think that this probably could be a way of her really keeping, her senses and being able to stay sharp with her mind. Being able to have her hand and eye coordination together at, all times. Of course, when you get a little older, you lose a step here and there. But the fact is that, she's still playing. She's enjoying it. It's something for her to do. I'm sure she has to love it, saying that when she gets a new game, she'll be up to 2 a.m. playing it. Man, I know that feeling. I know that. And, this was just so cool, and it was just inspirational to me to know that I could be, God knows if I can live that long, I could be the same age, actually still enjoying the same hobby that I've loved my whole life. So it just was so cool to see. And her saying that she really believes and has a friend that's older and they're into this. It really shows how much the gaming culture has really grown over the last 30 years. Because remember, she said she got this 30 years ago. So she was 42 at the time when she had actually got into gaming and has been hooked ever since. She even said that they had to get another Nintendo because she was playing it way more than her son and he couldn't ever get a real chance to play. So, Miss Bridget, my hat goes off to you, ma'am. This was just such an awesome story. And it just let me see that, like I've said, man, gaming is to me, I can't speak for any of you listeners out there, but to me, gaming is much deeper than just the fanboy stuff, than just liking this system over that system. You know, gaming is a way of bringing people together. It's a way of, you know, having something to do when you're sad, when you're down, when you're depressed. It was times when I was depressed and I would get on the sticks and I would forget my problems. You know, it's just a way, it's a healthy way to escape because you don't have to hurt yourself physically, you know, by taking certain substances or things of that sort, to get a feeling of escape and at the same time feel like you're accomplishing something in a game. You know, it's such a deep thing to me because it's a thing that I've loved my whole life. I don't want to keep rambling on. Good grief, I got a bad habit of that, but you know, everybody has a preference. Everybody knows Xbox. It is my preference. I love the Xbox, but at the same time, I love Sony. I do. I've said it a million times, man. Sony is the reason why the gaming culture that we know today is adult themed, in my opinion. Sega, they tried to do it and they did do some things, but Sony, they spearheaded that whole thing, man. It was just wonderful. So I want to see everybody win. I would never want to see any of these companies go under because there are people at the end of the day that are working for these companies as well that are affected. So I just want everybody to win and I want everybody to just enjoy the games that you play. But moving on, sorry, didn't mean to get preachy yet, was not the point. But, oh man, moving on. Okay. Now, GameStop. Oh my goodness. Now listen to this. Okay. I need y'all to listen up very, very clear because you might think you're hearing wrong, but oh no, buddy. Oh no. This is real. And I went and I checked it out because I didn't think it was real. But GameStop is at it again with crazy deals. Now, trying to get rid of, now this is the key point, they're trying to get rid of old used stock. Now, these deals, of course, you know what they are, the old stock, you know, the used stuff. They need to make room for the new stuff because the holidays are coming. Microsoft has the S, PlayStation has the Pro and the Slim. They gotta make room. So, they are running this special until October 1st. Excuse me, I had to belch. They are, also, these are only available, these deals are only available online. Now, you can buy listen to this, 3 console bundle that comes with the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Wii U for $679.99. $680. You can have all 3 consoles. PS4, Wii U, Xbox One. For under $700. That is what? With those systems at 3, 6, you're looking at least $900 for those consoles separately. Now keep in mind, they are used, okay? They are refurbished. But for less than $700, I think that's a darn good deal. But if you want to go even more crazy, okay, you want to go way outside of the box a little bit more, well, listen to this. Now, if you are in the market, buddy out there listening, if you want to get a PlayStation 3, but you never got around to it, if you wanted to get a 360, but never got around to it, then you can get both of those and a Wii as well for $160. $160 for all 3 consoles. If you ever wanted to get your hands on all 3 of last gen consoles or this gen worth of consoles, then you gotta act by October 1st, because once October 1st hits, it is over. I went to the GameStop website because I said, this has got to be a typo. This can't be real. No darn way. Oh, it was real. Oh, it was very, very real. Man, so please go out there, get it if you have a loved one. For a birthday, for Christmas, for, I don't know, a doggone, anniversary. Go out there and pick this up. This is a wonderful, wonderful deal. Whoo, moving on. Now, Battlefield is coming out. I'm not gonna get it. I just, pulled my own card on that just a few minutes ago. But for you guys and gals that are looking forward to the game, and want to know how much is this thing going to take up of my hard drive, because man, hard drive space comes at a premium now because these games are just eating it up. Well, oh man, Battlefield, sadly, it's going to take up 42.6 gigabytes of hard drive space. Oh my gosh. 42, man. See, look, this is what I'm gonna have to do. I've been deleting games. I've been loading up games. I've been deleting them and loading them back up. And I'm like, man, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. So I just saw online about 2 weeks ago, might have been 3 weeks ago, at Micro Center. They had an external 4 terabyte Xbox One hard drive for $180. Now, I don't know if it's still there, but I'm going to check this weekend because these game sizes are becoming ridiculous. Okay, you remember last gen, man, a game might take up like 8, maybe 10 gigs. This time, they're like triple the size. So, you Battlefield players, not owners, because it ain't out yet. But for you guys that want Battlefield 1, make sure you clear off at least 43 gigs of hard drive space so you can play the game on day 1. Moving on. Now, this was cool, man. This was so dope. Now, the PlayStation Experience has been announced. Now, the event, which, man, they drop some bombs at some of these, man. They really do a darn good job. But, the event will take place on December 3rd through the 4th, which will actually fall on a Saturday and a Sunday, and it'll take place at the Anaheim Convention Center in California. Now, the event will start at 10 a.m. and will last until 10 p.m. Oh my gosh, that is a all-day event. That's what, 12 hours? Good gosh. And on Sunday, now this is the thing though, on Sunday, it's actually still going to start at 10 a.m., but it's going to end at 6 p.m. I guess that makes sense to give everybody a chance to, kind of get out early, catch their flights back, their buses back, all of that stuff. But according to the announcements though, the announcement attendees, I'm just messing up. According to the announcement, attendees will get hands-on time with the PlayStation 4 Pro on 4K TVs and dozens of PlayStation VR demos. PlayStation Showcase is going to be there, a developers panel, and merchandise, and lots more. Now, the Capcom Cup 2016 will also be held during the event, with the final starting at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Now, the total prize money that they're giving away this year is over $250,000. And for the first time, Street Fighter V is replacing Ultra Street Fighter 4. Now, you can get an early bird special where you can buy tickets as long as you get them before October 16th. You can get a 2-day ticket for $60, which is, wow, that's pretty darn good. Now, after that, after the 16th of October, the regular 2-day ticket will be $75. Now, if you don't want to go for 2 days, but you maybe want to go on Saturday and you just want to, just spend the day that way, you can actually get tickets for Saturday for $45. Or if you can make it Sunday because you had to work Saturday, you can get the tickets for $40. Now, the tickets are actually available on PlayStation.com/experience tickets. That's all you got to do. Experience dash tickets. So if you go to that website, you can go right there and buy your tickets and be ready for the PlayStation experience. This is going to be really, really cool, man. I'm sure that, you guys that are going, I unfortunately won't be able to go. December, it's a bad month. We are running so hard during the holidays as a truck driver. We're just out there. So I won't be able to make the event, but let me know if any of you guys are going. I mean, out California, I've been out there once. I was out in Fontana, California. I had to deliver some freight out there when I was training. So let me know, you listeners out there, any of you guys planning on going to the PlayStation experience. But once again, let me give you the link again. If you want to go and get the tickets, it's PlayStation.com/experience tickets. And moving into the last story. Now, Insomniac recently addressed the lack of a Sunset Overdrive PC port. Now, according to Insomniac, they said it's up to Microsoft to bring the game to PC. That was their response. Now, they gave a fan, that was the response they gave a fan via Twitter, and went further to say they would love to bring the game to PC, but Microsoft has to pull the trigger first. So we know that Microsoft has been really on the PC side. They're bringing out Gears. They already brought out Forza Horizon 3, which, oh my gosh. By the way, I did play that. It was a demo. But God, dog, let me just say very, very quickly, an amazing looking racing game. I mean, I'm not even into racing games like that. The only racing game that I have ever been into, there was 2 of them. It was Burnout. Not even Paradise. I didn't like Paradise that much. It was okay. But Burnout and Pure, those were the only 2. And I mean, Pure was amazing. It was just amazing. It was like you were on a roller coaster. I mean, just the jumps and the hills and it was just a beautiful game. But, oh my goodness, man, Horizon 3? Oh my gracious. They actually did a side-by-side comparison on the cockpit, the interior of the cars. And I mean, they are doggone near spot on to what the real cars are. I mean, they are so darn close in details. But like I was saying, getting back to the point, they've had Recore that's come out on the PC side. So Microsoft, they're really becoming PC friendly with their games. So hopefully, if it's a big enough demand for it, Sunset Overdrive will make it to the PC. I thought it was a wonderful game. I had just a ball with it. I mean, after about the first hour maybe 2. It took me a while to get used to it. At first, I did not like it. I said, this game is whack. I think it's boring. The controls are off. But after I adjusted, man, what? Just a sensational game. If you guys out there that have Xbox Ones that haven't tried Sunset Overdrive, give it a try. It is a great game. I really wish that they would make a sequel to it, but that seems to be, that's the thing. I don't know, man. We want new IPs. We really do. We want these developers to do different things. We want new ideas. We don't want the same old games over and over and over again. But it seems like there are only a handful out of dozens. It seems like it's only a handful of new IPs that people gravitate to. And that makes it hard for developers to take a chance. I mean, we've had Sunset Overdrive, which was a new IP. Nobody really checked for it. We had Rise, Son of Rome, which I thought was a good game. Not great, but it was good. It was repetitive, but I had a good time with it. But we're not going to get a sequel to that. It looks like Recore isn't doing too well either. We're not going to get a sequel to that possibly. On top of several other IPs, new IPs. Even Mirror's Edge that they brought out, because people wanted it. They were clamoring for it. Fans were yelling from the rooftops that they wanted it, and they got it, and it didn't turn out to be such a great game or what people were looking forward to. We can chalk that up. We're not going to get another Mirror's Edge. So, I mean, whose fault is it really that developers don't take the chances? Is it their fault or is it our fault, the game player? Because it's a double-edged sword. People say what they want, but when certain people are presented what they're asking for, they say, oh, nah, I'll just resort back. They just resort back to what they know. So, I don't know. I would like to get your thoughts on that. But, anyway, that is the end of the news section. And we will be back to go into my favorite part. And God dog, this email, man, I cannot wait to read this to you guys. So, that's what we're going to get into right after this. Stay tuned, guys. And welcome back, game players. Welcome back. Oh man, now my favorite section of the podcast. Man, I really enjoy this, man. The feedback section, God dog. It's just wonderful. Interacting with you guys is fan doggone. It's just great. I love getting the emails. Love getting your opinions. Love getting the voicemails. I haven't had one of them in a while, but it's all good. But we're going to jump right into it with, of course, no other than Mr. Cody Clark starting us off. He says, this is the name of his email. He says, wow, Moonwalker. Holy props and high fives. He says, wow, Moonwalker. Holy heck. That hit me in the nostalgia jaw. That story got me in the feels. Oh man, say it ain't so. Oh well. They say distance makes the heart grow fonder. Now, if you got, thank you, Cody Clark, man, that's my dude right there. I really appreciate it when this man writes in. It's always fun to read his emails. And Cody, thank you once again for just writing another email. If you guys, that might not have heard the show, last week. I was just talking about a game that I played that I thought was wonderful, because that was the question Cody was asking. Had I ever played a game that was wonderful to me at one point and went back and played it again and it didn't really hold up? I was saying Michael Jackson Moonwalk. I thought the game was amazing. It was incredible when I played it back then. But then when I played it again, I was like, oh man, it just, I don't know, the story just doesn't quite hold up. I mean, I understand it was based off of Moonwalker, which was an incredible movie. Oh man, I loved it. One of my favorite scenes in that movie was when Michael Jackson transformed into the doggone car. Man, I was blown. And he was the robot. He was shooting stuff off of his shoulder. Oh my goodness, it took me to a place, okay? That might have been some of the first CG ever. I don't know for sure. It might have been claymation. I don't know. It looked kind of dope. So I think it was a little better than claymation. But, that was one of my favorites. In the Smooth Criminal scene, God dog it, shoot. When he flicked the coin into the jukebox. Man, who the world doesn't remember that? Oh man, Michael Jackson, he was magic. He was so magical. But yeah, I had played the game, man, and it was wonderful. It was nothing like the arcade version. It was kind of a big letdown, actually, when I had first got it on the Genesis. I was so excited. I'm like, oh man, we're going to play multiplayer. Well, I wasn't saying multiplayer back then, but I was like, it's going to be me and a friend. We're going to be two Michael Jacksons on the screen. He going to have a black suit. I'm going to have a red suit. And no, none of that happened. It was just the Smooth Criminal Michael Jackson, all white get up, and that was it. It didn't graphically, it didn't look anything like the arcade. The arcade was like an isometric type of view, and it had like a spotlight that would come down and shine on you when you be dancing, and the dance move looked all smooth in the arcade version. And at home, it was trying. And it did its job, but it in no way was like the arcade version. I always hoped that they would have brought that out on Xbox Live. I don't know why the heck they didn't do that. Maybe licensing, but doggone it. Cody Clark, once again, brother, thank you so much for the email. But this was amazing right here. This is the email. And that is not at all in any way undermining my dude Cody Clark's email. Not at all. But this gentleman, without this gentleman, okay, Cody Clark, he probably wouldn't have been listening to the show. Aaron from Game Enthused, he wouldn't have been listening to the show, which would have ultimately meant that I would have never got on his podcast probably. But this gentleman, I owe a lot to him. He is the only person that's ever left an iTunes review for me. So, I appreciate this guy because he's, like I said, Cody Clark, he listened because of him. He had got turned on to the podcast from him. Like I said, Aaron and even Aaron's crew, they listened to the podcast because of this gentleman right here, who is no other than Mr. Jonathan Goosens. Man, this dude is awesome. Listen to this man's email. He says, Keon, Goose here. I figured it was about time to finally contact you. And let me tell you something, brother. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I really do. He says, I enjoy listening to how positive you are on the analog circle. Wow, man, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. He says, I hesitated in contacting you because I'm super jaded and negative. So I didn't want to bring you down. Nah, brother, never that. He says, but heck, I keep telling all my friends to listen to your show and start following you. Thank you, man. Thank you. He says, I thought I really should just contact you since your positivity will greatly outweigh any amount of jaded BS I could toss your way. No, man. No. Mr. Goosens, it's not even like that, brother. He says, starting with a couple of shows ago. Now, this is where it gets interesting. He says, starting with a couple of shows ago, you were lamenting about why Nintendo hasn't lowered the price of the Wii U. Well, the answer to that is simple. Sony is to blame. Back before it became public that Sony was in dire financial straits, the last thing they did with their investors' money was buy the factory that holds the exclusive contract to manufacture the chips for the Wii U. And despite how many buildings, studios, and technology patents Sony has sold, closed to stay afloat this generation, Sony has death clutched that Nintendo factory just to make sure they control the price of the Wii U. I've attached the link below to the article about it. He says Nintendo is just riding out the contract, so they have no plans to cut the price. Even if the NX launched at $300, the Wii U would still be the same price. Sony is the one who screwed over Nintendo fans this generation. If Sony didn't control that factory, we would be able to pick up a Wii U at around $120. Thanks, Sony. Man, when I got this email from Mr. Jonathan Goosens, Goose is what they call him, it really blew my mind because, see, I was of the mindset, I said, why won't Nintendo just do a burn sale? Get rid of it. Sell it for $200. It'll sell like hotcakes. Get rid of it. Whatever. But reading this email, seeing how Sony took over and this building and is making it so Nintendo they have to sell it for that much. They have to, because they're controlling it. That's Sony. It made me say, good gracious, who the world knew that this was even a reality? Who the world would have known that this was going on? And I tell you, this is why I thoroughly enjoy. This is my favorite part of the podcast. I say it every week, not as a tagline, but in all honesty, it's the part of the show where you guys teach me things that I'm not aware of, bring things to my attention, make me a better game player as far as knowledge goes. And I was so blown away by this. You guys, you gotta check out, if you want to check out the article, it's WiiUDaily.com/2014/02, which means 02/Sony buy. Go there to that link and you can check this out for yourself. Sony buys factory that makes Wii U chips. I mean, that's it. You type that in, it was amazing. It blew my whole mind. My freaking mind was blown. But, he wasn't done though. I just had to talk about that. It's because of Sony that the Wii U, it can't drop the price. It can't. And I know, oh man, let me tell you something. I know Jeremy is probably listening to this and he is probably boiling over saying, why? Sony, why? Is this happening? I'm with you, Jeremy. I'm with you. Good gracious. I couldn't believe it. But he wasn't done there. He says, I do have one question for you on the show, though. I just recently beat Recore on Xbox One. I only bought the game to support new IPs, my man. He said, but was very surprised how much I enjoyed it. But when I finished the story, I looked over at all my games from this generation and realized that I have only made it to the end of Recore. Dead Rising 3, Diablo 3, Warriors Orochi 3, and The Division out of 73 full retail games I've bought. He put that in parentheses. I wanted to know what games this generation have you gotten to the end of? He says, I'll try to keep this email short and my negativity to a minimum. I'll email again later. Keep up the awesome work on the Analog Circle. And Keon, if life rears its ugly head and you have to take care of business, don't worry. We will all patiently wait for you to bring the Analog Circle back in action. Take care. He says, Adam on Xbox Live. His name is, Who the Goose. That's WHODAGOOSE. No spaces. He says that's also his PSN, name as well. Goose, man, I really appreciate that last part, brother. Having to take care of business and, waiting for me to come back. That's very humbling and I really appreciate that. I've been kind of busy with the house and all and just life in general, so I really appreciate your patience so very much. And let me tell you, I appreciate the email. Thank you, brother. But to answer your question, I've actually beat a couple of games. I actually beat Uncharted 4, which was a good game. It was solid. I enjoyed it. 8.5. I beat Inside this year. I beat Quantum Break as well, which was a good game. I'll say that was about an 8. Maybe a 7.75, somewhere around in there. I beat, what else did I beat? It is some other game I did beat on the PlayStation 4. Oh, Ratchet and Clank. I beat Ratchet and Clank as well. That might be about it. For some reason, I want to say it's a few more, Goose, but they are all that come to mind. So I've been kind of busy with beating the games that I get. Usually what happens, I'm on the verge of beating God of War 3 right now. I'm right at the end, but just have not had time to really pick it up and finish it. But, what I do, Goose, is when I buy a game, outside of The Witcher 3, which that was just impossible. I have not even scraped the surface of that game, and I have at least like 15, maybe close to 20 hours into that game because that game is just so huge, man. I did beat Grand Theft Auto 5 as well. I beat that. But what I do though is I try to concentrate on that one game because what I used to do, which was just a habit, when a new game would come out, I would just snag it up. I would get it. And then I started noticing I was never finishing any of the games that I bought. I mean, case in point, Metal Gear Solid 5 is still in the wrapper. I have not opened that up. I tried to get into Just Cause 3, I didn't finish that. I got Gears Ultimate. It didn't really hold up as well for me, but I still gotta finish that. Like I said, The Witcher 3, I gotta finish that. You know, it's plenty of games. Until Dawn is still in the wrapper. The Last of Us is still in the wrapper. It's still so many games. My backlog is just silly right now. But what I've been trying to do, or what I have been doing, is when I do get a game, I just try to concentrate on that one game, and when I finish it, I'll move on to another one. And I haven't been buying any new games for a couple of, not a couple weeks, but about a month. I'm gonna be honest with you, it hasn't been that long. But that's what I try to do, man, and try to get it done. But, you know, it's so many games, they come out so regular and so quick. And I mean, this fall is just gonna be ridiculous. I gotta get Gears 4, that's on the list. I gotta get Call of Duty, cause I need it. You know, I want to play the game, you know, on top of Recore. It's just so many games, man. So it's hard to keep up. It is, Goose, but I try, brother. I try, man. But once again, God dog it, Goose, thank you for the email, brother. Just a heck of an inside look at something that I'm sure most people don't even know about. So thank you. Hopefully it won't be the last time that you write in, or feel free to call. It's totally up to you, but just know once again, it is so appreciated. You and Cody Clark writing in. Thank you guys so very much. But with that being said, y'all, you know that this is the part of the show where I got to ask you, the listener, your opinion, because it matters to me. I want to ask y'all, will no 4K Blu-ray player support hurt the PlayStation 4 Pro's sales? That's what I want to bring to the round table right now. That question right there. Will no 4K Blu-ray support hurt the PlayStation 4 Pro sales? Because this is the thing. Now, I've heard this from several different people about the Xbox One S. Okay, it has the Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray player. Now, granted, you know, people have been saying, oh, it's not that good. Oh, it's just mid-grade. It's not even quite average. This, that, and the third. These are the techie guys that are talking, that are saying this. I'm not hearing this from the average consumer like myself. This not quite into the AV part of things. But what I have heard, though, is that for $300, I can get a 4K Blu-ray player that can double as a gaming system. It can be my all-in-one entertainment system, because not only can I play the physical 4K Blu-ray player discs, I can also play games on it, and if I so choose to, I can also stream in 4K. Now, we have the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's $400. It renders up to 4K, not natively, but some other findings have been found out about that. They've actually said on Digital Foundry that when they took a close look at the console, at the PlayStation 4 Pro, that when you see the image and it's still, it's not moving, that it is a native 4K picture. But when it starts moving and, you know, the characters are, you know, in action, then it drops down. It takes a step down. But overall, they were impressed with it overall. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about value. We're talking about something that people can hold on to. Now, we know that the PlayStation 4 Pro doesn't have the 4K Blu-ray player in it. Do you think that that will affect the sales? I really want to know that, because they, like I said in the last podcast, they understood what they were doing. They said they're not doing the physical because the physical is phasing out as far as the movies go. It's more digital, so that's where they're putting their resources. Do you think that was smart? Do you think that that's going to hurt them? Or do you think that's going to help them? Or do you think that them not, and I'm repeating myself for the 10th time, but do you think that them not having that Blu-ray, that 4K Blu-ray player in the console is going to hurt them this holiday season? You have a $400 system and you have a $300 system. The other $300 system, it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player in it, but you can get one for the same price that does. I need to know. Let me know, listeners. I can't wait to hear from you. Once again, if you want to get in contact with the show, you can reach the show to voice your opinion at 443-261-4607. Or if you want to email the show, like Cody and Goose, you can email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Woo! That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Truly, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 37 of the Analog Circle Podcast. Oh man, it means so much. It really does. But I'm not going to stay long-winded. So with that, until next week, when we do it again, you guys take care. Please be safe out there. Bye-bye.